Hi everyone, hope you're well. Can you develop a unique content strategy for an industry as busy as bridal wear? Yes, you can. And let me tell you how. My name's Caroline. I'm the content director at iContent. So we have a client called Velvet Queen, an amazing brand who knows exactly who they are. All bridal shops are not the same. So in any industry, you'll always, or any sector, you'll always have people selling similar products, but it's the how they sell them and the customer experience that makes them stand apart. And Velvet Queen is a brilliant example of that. Joe talked yesterday in his blog and his video the day before that about uniqueness and how you can stand out online using Velvet Queen as an example. So I want to talk about how we developed a content strategy. Now, the owner of Velvet Queen is very clear about what is important to her, and that is diversity and inclusivity. A space, a wedding shop that celebrates body shape, somewhere that recognises disability, sees you for who you are, regardless of race, sexuality, etc. So that underpins all of her values. So how do you reflect that in content, but still ensure you hit the keywords and key terms for SEO? I'll give you an example of some of the titles we developed, and I'll show you how they still tick those boxes, but then have that uniqueness that is part of Velvet Queen's brand. One of the titles was recently, what is the average price of a wedding dress? Now that sounds like something everybody would punch into Google. How we made that unique for her and for Nicola and Velvet Queen was to make sure that value went through that content, that it's about believing that you're worthwhile. And most people won't come into a wedding shop saying, oh, I want to spend this, or I want to spend that, or that's too expensive. What we basically did was talk about the emotions of the bride-to-be, about how they wanted to feel. And that isn't a cost, that isn't a price. So that's what we did with that one. One of the other pieces of content was about unique bridal looks, and the title was, Can I Wear a Suit to My Wedding? Now, there are people looking for alternative bridal wear. They may not want to wear a suit, but they are looking for alternative looks. They don't want to do a cookie cutter kind of wedding. So in that piece of content, we just talked about the fact that Velvet Queen accepts everybody and celebrates their uniqueness and who they are and what they stand for. And that does not necessarily mean everybody wears the same kind of dress, or even that they wear a dress. So the brand ran all the way through something that is a question someone would punch into Google. So it still helps the site to rank. It still meets those search terms, but then the audience knows exactly what that shop is about, what that bridal experience is about. And the other one was how to choose wedding accessories. Again, that's something you think, oh yeah, people would punch that in. There's a few rules, tips, top tips, etc. But it wasn't. It was more about saying you don't have to wear a veil. You don't have to conform. There are no rules as a bride. You can do whatever you want. So yes, of course they have a range of accessories. Of course they can give advice on that. But running through that piece of content was the brand, which is exactly what Joe talked about before. And that's what I'll be talking about in my blog tomorrow, how expanding on these titles and just using that as an example. But of course, it can be an example that can be used in any sector. There are so many sectors selling similar products, offering similar services, but you've all got your own unique brand, voice, and values that underpin that. Hope that made sense, and I look forward to sharing the blog.